Hey, good evening. This is Nicolina Nix, and you're here with another episode of Women, Wit, and Wine. Tonight, we're going to talk about, we come in pairs, breast cancer awareness. And I have my amazing guest here. I am drinking some sangria. Patricia has come and joined us again. She's been on our show before in Loss of Our Children. So here's Patricia joining us. And of course, my guests are Mike Miller and Tish Miller, who I've known for very many years. And one of the things I do remember is I remember when we first started working together. After Clown Camp, we did Mama.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then I got to see your video that you did.
Yeah. Bet Your Life.
Bet Your Life. And so, I wanted you guys to come on and talk about this because, Tish, you are a survivor.
I am. Somebody asked me not long ago, what did you feel like when they told you had cancer? What did you feel? And I had to stop and think about it because I'm not sure I felt anything at that moment. Everything kind of went numb. And which is why Mike was involved doing the film thing?
Oh, the 48
The 48-hour films, or one of them, something.
One of the competitions,
right?
Yeah,
something.
Big City, maybe?
And I helped out with some makeup because it was women who had been beaten up, and so I went in and put on bruises and horrible things. And I was about 10 days out from a mastectomy. Mm-hmm. And so, and it's tiring. To do one of those competitions is exhausting.
We've all done them.
Yes.
Yes.
So I did my thing, and I went home, and Mike went to the parties and all the stuff, and he came home about 11 o'clock one night, and he said they're having a contest for a 2-minute film.
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay. And the theme is poker face. And I clicked because when I was told that I had cancer, I'm sure. It was a poker face. And all the doctors and all the techs and everybody had that no expression.
I have a friend that I did a show on. It was called The Big C. And I did do a show, and I had one of the comedians, Holly Bird, on it, and she had ovarian cancer, and my friend Tony had cancer, a couple of bouts with cancer, and his best expression was, which is another title for a show later on down the road. It's called Expired. Now what? Because he says, because when they come in and give you that news, it's almost like they take that stamp and go, expired.
Yeah.
You're done now.
Yeah.
And I thought, that is actually absolutely the best description, because I've had thyroid cancer. So I think that was an amazing description of that panic that goes through our brains in that instant that I don't think you'd have a choice to not have the poker face.
Yeah, because it just is such a stunning thing that, all of a sudden it's real, and what's next? Mm-hmm. And so we did this film. We wrote it that night. Mm-hmm. And it followed the woman, me, through finding the lump in the breast and going to the various doctors and going for the biopsy, and here's the news and the decision for the mastectomy, and then the end of the film was a shot of
It's you in the mirror.
It was us in the mirror, the two of
Yeah,
us.
that's right. You were behind her.
Yeah, the two of us when
Wow.
I exposed the scar. And when I had the mastectomy, and they finally took all the wrappings off a couple of days later, and Mike came to see me, I said, okay, we're going in the bathroom because we need to see this. And he was with me,
Wow.
standing with me the first time we saw the scar. And there are men who won't do that.
Yeah.
You know, there are men who can't deal with
I was
it.
very moved by it. I mean, which
Yeah.
is, when I was going through, because I told you before we started the show, I plan out a list of what I want to talk about. And, and I think, okay, what's some good topics to talk about? I mean, and they, I admit my things range from politics all the way to having sex. But I think that there's so much out there.
Mix.
They totally, They totally do. Well, because I actually kind of wrote a joke about it. You want to hear my joke about?
Tell me
Okay.
about it.
So the other day, I was running a marathon, and I stopped by a church, and I saw Donald Trump having sex with a nut. So now that I've gotten race, politics, religion, and sex out of the way, I think I'm good to go. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I got to tell you, right along lines, the other day I was running down the street, which you don't see very often, and I heard this clapping. So I stopped, and I turned around, and I looked. I didn't see anybody. Nobody was there. So I kept on going, and I heard the clapping again. I realized it was my damn ass cheeks.
You just thought people were applauding.
There you go.
But
That's bad.
But bringing that topic up, not the ass cheek thing. But I remember, we went to clown camp together, and then doing Mama, and then seeing the film, because when we got to view Mama, we viewed your film, and I thought it's very moving. It's very touching. I do think it touches on that subject of. I think when you have cancer or you're diagnosed, you feel isolated.
Absolutely.
But it's moving in the sense that you have somebody here right with you. I'm walking this journey with you. Mm-hmm. I know that I can't understand what you're going through when you're getting sick and you're, having to go through chemotherapy and you're having to go through the surgery. But I'm here to still suffer with you through this tragedy of how people perceive it that we can overcome together.
And we did. It had been a rough...
You got this look on your face.
That's only part of the story.
Well, I know.
I had surgery for prostate cancer the year before.
Yeah, just 6 months before.
6 months.
What?
6 months before.
You just couldn't let him have his glory? Is that what you're saying?
Well, hey, who knows what the motivations are? But
I know.
At that point, it was, we were a couple that made a commitment a long time ago before we got married that no matter what happened, nobody left. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have any idea what that really meant. And there were times when that's the only thing that's held the marriage together. We're going on 34 years this year.
Beautiful.
But
wow.
one of the things that is an issue is when there is a major illness like that. One or the other of the couple can't deal with it.
Absolutely.
For whatever reason. And it really does create more of a problem when they can't, because it leaves the person who is having the cancer and living the cancer completely isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we were very clear that it didn't matter. We weren't.
I would probably say that I felt isolated after finding out. I mean, I I was single, and I just bought this house. And I lost my job because I told my boss that I had cancer. And before I'm closing on my house and having surgery, my job is in the paper. And they fired me. I worked for attorneys.
Yeah.
They were really not nice people. But it was very isolating. One, I didn't have a job. I couldn't go to work for a year because I had to have the cancer removed. It's okay.
Cool.
That's kind of gives the ambience of the show that you can hear the glug, 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 glug.
Be reasonably quiet.
You don't have to be quiet here. So, and then being isolated because I was here by myself. For 2 weeks after my radiation, I had to be here alone because I was a danger to.
That's right.
I was a danger to small animals, pregnant women, and children.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was very disappointed to find out that if I went to the airport, I wouldn't set off the Geiger counter.
Hey, I grew up in Los Alamos. I still glow in the dark.
Hey, but you know how disappointing
Well,
that
it
is,
really
though?
does. Yeah.
So I had to avoid people for 2 weeks. I was by myself, and
Yeah.
out of work for a year, and I didn't have a husband. I had my mother, but that goes so far. I mean, because when I had to be here by myself, she had my daughter and my pets, and and so it was me. 2 weeks, me not leaving my house. Oh man, did I just do that? Sorry.
When I
That's the intro to it's the intro to the show. That's what you hear.
when we had just finished filming Baking Bad. I got the call from my doctor that I had cervical and possibly ovarian, or no, uterine with possible cervical cancer. And I felt my world crash. I know it's not breast cancer, but for women, it's that.
It's cancer.
It's the word cancer, and it's like, man, striking what makes us feminine, what makes us our identity as being a woman, and I was very ill emotionally. I think more than anything, I pretty much retracted, and my story ended up being very different than what you've experienced or what you've experienced. I kind of felt like it was a divine intervention. And when I went to the doctor and they did another ultrasound, the cancer was gone.
Wow.
Completely gone.
Yay.
That's awesome.
But I understand all the feelings of those ups and downs of, what's next and the poker face. I remember the doctor asking me, well, do you have any questions? And I just sat there. And I was, no.
Mine would.
You don't have any questions? Yeah. No. I got in the car. I sat there. I called my mom and I said, well, Mom, I have uterine cancer and they think it might be in my cervix too. And she was kind of dumbfounded and she asked me, are you okay? And I said, I think I am. I think I am. I got on the phone, I called my best friend, and I broke down. Mm-hmm. And it was like I finally felt like, oh, okay, I can cry about this. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got home, my daughter was waiting for me, my mom was there, my best friend, Wendy, I know you know Wendy Garcia, she worked on Clown Camp too.
Is that where we met? Clown Camp?
No, I think we met during
Wendy Garcia.
Yeah, she worked with us on. Oh boy, Nickley on.
I've slept since then. Cena Soul, the Cena Soul videos.
Did she? No, she didn't do Cena Soul. She did Sympathy for the Devil. She did Clown Camp. She did. Baking Bad. She did makeup with me or she did makeup on.
Okay, I know which one she is now. I know. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember that now.
Anyway,
You just got to Rolodex my memory.
so we had, the girls. We called them the yayas. All of us girls, we were the yayas, and we all came to each other's aid when life was handing you a pile of shit instead of it.
My group we called ourselves the tough old broads.
I was a loner.
But
I'm going to leave on that note.
no.
Yeah. When you get a diagnosis like that, it's devastating,
Yes.
and you need support. I'm not a support group person,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing we did, both with Mike's diagnosis and with mine, is we came home and we started doing research.
Mm-hmm. That's what I did.
And because I didn't know what questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know.
Yeah.
But we did our research, and so by the time I finally saw a surgeon,
Mm-hmm.
my cancer was small.
Mm-hmm.
It was invasive. It was not self-contained, and I knew when I was watching the screen when they did the ultrasound, it looked like a spider. I knew what it was then, but we did the research. So by the time I got to see the surgeon,
Mm-hmm.
I already knew that I was going to have a mastectomy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to change surgeons because the first surgeon was not happy with that idea. Because we can do a lumpectomy, and then you can do radiation, and you can do chemo, and everything will be fine. And I'd already done my research. And what I had already figured out was that 5-year survival rates for mastectomy versus lumpectomy and chemo and radiation, they're within like 2 points of each other.
Wow.
Okay? But what they don't tell you as a rule is that almost a third of the people who have a lumpectomy with chemo and radiation, sometime during that 5-year period, will have a recurrence. Okay? And they don't tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, but I was, 60...
Something by then.
60,
Oh,
yeah.
63.
63, because it's 10 years. Okay. So I was 63, and as I told the surgeon that ultimately took care of me, they're decorative.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I'm really not using them, and they're kind of decorative. And so I just assumed do the mastectomy. No.
As I said, we've been married almost 34 years,
Yeah,
so I'd already had plenty of use.
Yeah. Well, you've gotten your money out, haven't
That's
you?
right.
I've already juggled a bit.
Yeah, there you go. But had I been younger,
Mm-hmm.
I might very well have made a different decision.
Mm-hmm.
I opted not to have a reconstruction. Had I been younger, I might have made a different decision.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to do your own research. You got to make up your own mind because everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I had gotten to the point that the only time I wore a prosthesis, I put a bra and a prosthesis on, and when I had an audition. Other than that, I didn't bother.
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, most people didn't notice, which I found really odd.
Yeah.
And sometimes I felt kind of put out.
Well,
You're not noticing.
Here's the thing. You're a curvy woman. Okay.
Yeah.
You're full bodied. Now, if you looked like my daughter's size, people would have noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you have natural feminine curves.
Yeah.
So people look at the whole package. Now, like I said, if you were stick thin like my daughter, people would have noticed.
Yeah.
Because when you stood to the side, you might look like a zipper with your tongue stuck out.
I'm going to tell you a funny story. I went in for an audition about an older woman who had had a mastectomy, right? And at some point, she's talking to her young neighbor who has just been diagnosed. And the neighbor's freaking. And so this woman says, there's really no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And she reaches inside her blouse and pulls out the prosthesis, which is the first time that the woman next door had known. So I go in for an audition. And we're doing this scene. I come to the line, and I reached in, and I pulled out my prosthesis. And the director and the guy behind the camera lost it. Just went berserk.
But at least you kept him abreast of the situation.
I did. I did not get the part, however.
Oh, well, that's not. You were truly revealing.
You should have said it was because I was lopsided, right?
Probably. But I knew what it was. They had to build a prosthesis of someone without the breast. Oh, well.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of dumb.
Well, it is. SAG-AFTRA is fighting that battle now, trying to make sure that the disabled actors play the disabled roles as opposed to getting an able-bodied actor to play those roles.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not highly successful yet, but there's an emphasis on it. Yeah.
They'll get there. That's the whole thing. It'll get there.
I hope so.
I mean, I really do think it will get there. I mean, but then we're in New Mexico.
All changes one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
We are years behind the rest of the country.
Well,
not even.
What are you talking about?
So my teacher told me I had to give up an essay, so I told her I'm no snitch.
there you go. And hell no, I'm not going to use my turn signal.
Did you see me waving?
Mm-hmm.
With all 5 fingers?
Did you see my flying J?
I just tell people.
I was a trucker for a small stint in my life. Yeah.
Did you see the bird?
I always thought that would be fun.
It was. It was. I got to see the country. I never thought I'd be able to.
Cool.
I was not a trucker.
But you got a trucker mouth.
No, I have a drunken sailor mouth. Screw that. Let's not sugarcoat it. The thing is, I mean, you had your cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to do a show about that, so you can come back for that one.
There you go.
And
I know that couldn't have been easy. I know for men, especially when it comes to prostate, I think it's more devastating.
Well,
to some degree.
It's the same idea you were talking about the women identifying with the women parts, the men identify with the men parts. I'll tell you what, prostate is about 2 inches.
Yes.
They don't bother to tell you that they're cutting off 2 inches when they do the surgery.
A lot of men would change their mind, huh?
They would.
Well, Mike had his cancer surgery, and 2-3 months later, his mom had a brain tumor.
oh my God! Wow, that's crazy.
And had surgery.
And the whole side of her head off.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Not entirely. But we're up in Santa Fe. I was in Santa Fe, staying in her apartment and going to the hospital with her. And I canceled my physical.
Oh my goodness.
Because I was in Santa Fe.
Wow.
And so just as she's getting well, I had this really weird dream. And I'm not given to prophetic dreams.
Yeah.
I'm just not. But I dreamt that I was in a doctor's office. Somebody I didn't know looked at this doctor and I said, I have cancer. And he said, yes, you do. So I came home and it stuck with me. Came home, I called my doc and I'm thinking it's going to take me 2 months to get another appointment for a physical. He got me in the next week, and he found a lump. And so it was kind of like our heads were spinning.
Yes.
That's absolutely, your spirit guide talks to you.
Yeah.
When you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
And says, yeah.
There's a message for you. They're saying,
pay attention.
Listen up.
The kind of cancer I had was a hormone receptor. So they gave me medication to shut down all of the estrogen production in my body.
Oh, my goodness.
All of it. Now, I'd gone through menopause, 10 years before that?
At least.
And it was not fun for anybody, especially not for Mike. So when...
especially when she...
Remember that thin thread I was talking about?
Hey, especially when she rubbed up against him in the morning and her 5 o'clock shadow was 7.
That's it. Yeah. But the medication they gave me after the cancer, suddenly there's no estrogen.
Yes.
And we're doing the hot flashes again, and the mood swings. Mike never knew what he was waking up with.
Yeah.
It was the beard.
Well, every morning I would wake up and she would sit up in bed and her head would start to spin and it looked like Do we need to explain that reference to most of the audience?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. You were sleeping with Reagan. Yeah, absolutely. The Exorcist.
Yeah.
And I understand that because I had a hysterectomy in '99.
Okay.
So, but I didn't realize that. I got to keep my ovaries. So, thinking
Well, it was nice of them.
it was okay. Mm-hmm. Well, after 5 years, they're pretty much clouds of dust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing anything in there.
Right.
And so, it was totally, absolutely, man. They're just like,
Mm-hmm.
So, and what I tell people now is like, so I was going through menopause in my mid-40s.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's fun, whatever the age.
My nickname at home was Zero to Naked Nikki. Because within 6 seconds of the door, I can guarantee you I was naked because I was hot all the time.
Yeah.
So, but now I'm fluctuating. I still have some of the hot flashes and stuff like that. And, I just tell people it's like, I'm really not really sure if I'm having a hot flash or I'm going to spontaneously combust. But either way, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bang in there.
I was in Walmart. I've got a carton of milk and one other item in the basket, and the hot flash hit. I was in line, and the hot flash hit.
Yeah,
and I thought I was going to die, and so I wheel my way to the freezer department, and I'm standing there with the freezer door, and I'm fanning myself with the freezer. And people are walking by looking at me like I've lost my mind. But it was either that or strip off.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured that wouldn't have been good. And we didn't have bail money if they picked me up for it,
They would have let you out on your own.
I was talking to a friend of mine. He might be listening. I don't know. And he was telling me that Texas is getting ready to pass a law that says women can go shirtless.
Oh, cool.
Do you have to wear pasties now?
I have no idea. But I said that I don't think that's very fair. They need to pass the marijuana law first.
Yeah.
I just tell people I'm hotter than a virgin in a prison rodeo.
There you go. All right.
And if you don't get that,
There's no hope.
Mm-hmm.
there's no hope.
Mm-hmm.
Hotter than a virgin. I stole that from the Golden Girls, I admit it.
I love the Golden Girls.
It was Blanche. I'm hotter than a virgin in a prison rodeo.
Uh-huh. Pretty sure she was, too.
So, but I just think it's amazing. I mean, I know you're now cancer-free, both of you.
As far as we know.
11, 10 years. You're telling me, well, you're going to do some research, and it's like, no, I don't want you to do research. I want you to come in and talk about your experience. I mean, and I understand that it was 10 years ago. My cancer was 2001.
It doesn't matter.
My cancer was 2001, so I have been cancer-free 2001. Because one thing you can say is, if you're going to get a cancer, thyroid cancer is the one you get because it's isolated. It doesn't spread. It doesn't go anywhere. It can come back on your parathyroids, but it's not one that is an aggressive cancer. It's not an aggressive cancer. They thought they were only going to take the right side of my thyroid out, and when they got in there, it was covered. So
I've heard a lot of that from a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have had thyroid cancer. I have thyroid issues myself, but
Well, you do what you got to do.
I
You put one foot in front of the other, and you keep going. I have a number of friends, a number of women, some that I met after my diagnosis, who've had recurrences. I know a couple of women now who are living with stage 4 cancer, which means that, it can go on for years. Heard a doc say that he had a couple of people who had metastatic breast cancer who have been his patients for like 20 years.
wow.
So it can go on, and you go through periods of treatment, and then you take a rest, and you feel fine, and then it's time for more treatment. But they've made some really remarkable stuff.
Absolutely, we've definitely progressed.
breakthrough, yes.
So far. Well, you have progressed
And
drastically.
poop on these folks who are trying to say forget mammograms, because mammograms actually save lives.
Are you kidding me? That's the only time I get groped these days.
That's not
Right there.
groping. Oh my
It's kind of like
God.
groping. Oh, it's getting squeezed.
Yeah, it does get squeezed. But they now have
Pancakes.
Yeah.
Yum! I'm hungry. I'm just kidding.
The last time I went in, they did the regular mammo, and then they did a 3D mammo.
Yes, I've had.
I haven't done the 3D mammo. I want one.
Yeah.
I have.
I want a
My,
3D mammo.
My great grandmother had breast cancer. My grandmother had breast cancer. Her sister had breast cancer. My mom's sister had breast cancer, and then my daughter, when she was 12 years old, we found a lump, and at age 13.
Should they boobs at 12 years old?
No, no.
You don't have to have boobs to get it.
But at age 13, she was having a lumpectomy, and the tumor that they removed, they were classifying it as an abnormal fibroid adenoma with precancerous cells. And so she is now 26. She has not developed cancer. She's been okay. But with the technology that they have now, I just had my BRCA testing. BRCA 1 and 2 is what I was tested for. And I think they may have even done like the broad spectrum BRCA testing, which is fantastic. I really recommend, if your insurance pays for it, get it done, check it, because, knowledge is power. And the more we know, the better off we are. I do not, thank God, have the breast cancer gene. It didn't.
Yeah, that is the BRCA is
Right.
A gene that's can be responsible, and it's genetic. It can be passed from either parent, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's an indicator.
yeah.
It's not necessarily.
No, it is an indicator, and more important, if you've got family members.
Yes.
Now, the other gene is an HER2 gene that they can identify. Yeah, no, I don't remember the name. It's a name that's long for what it stands for.
This is off cancer topic, but I just found out I have the MTHFR, the mother.
You can cuss on here. There's a warning that it is an explicit show.
Yes. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, you're telling me I literally have the motherfucker gene mutation.
And you know what these are right here? You see those lines?
Yeah.
Those are my what the fuck lines.
I can see that.
Yeah. Right there, between the eyebrows. That's what they
I
are.
learn stuff every day.
I don't.
I'm a lifelong learner.
Now,
Particularly when there's a group of women.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I don't have the what the fuck gene.
Oh. Come on now.
I don't.
I do.
And I don't even have Botox.
I do.
Oh.
At my dentist office, there's an RN, and she does Botox injections, $9 a vial. I think I'm going to get the what the fuck symbol out of my forehead.
We went to the state fair a couple of years ago,
Okay.
and they put some stuff under one eye.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It tightens it up.
just tightened it up, and no, I wasn't going to pay $300
You know, I
for a little vial of that stuff.
Can I just tell you, if you
Yeah.
just take a little bit of sperm and put it there too, it'll do
yeah?
the same thing.
Cool.
Well, and you know,
and
Preparation H.
God,
Yes, I've done that when we're doing films, and we've been up for 48 hours.
I do preparation
Give me
H.
the Preparation H.
I like the choline stuff.
Yeah.
I just want a big vat of Preparation H so I can bathe in it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You
after
know-
they did that, and I told them I wasn't going to spend the money for it,
Yeah.
Then they wiped
And I-
it off, and you went like
and I
this.
said, "You're going to do the other eye, right?"
She's like, yeah.
You're not going to make me walk around like this.
So at that point, you should have just started drooling out of your mouth.
Yeah. Must be an allergy. I think I'll sue.
That's what I would have done. What do you mean this face looks firmer? It's not. Just kidding. I would probably say I'm blessed with a good gene, and I have no idea who it came from. My biggest thing, if we're talking about the what the fuck thing, is mine is the snuff line. You know what the snuff line is?
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's a family trait. Family trait.
Yeah.
If you look at my family pictures, we all got this.
Nicolina, you have beautiful, beautiful, beautiful skin.
It's my snuff line.
Snuff line. I never heard of it.
You know, it's because when my grandmother, 100 years ago, would chew snuff.
Well, we always called it, what was it? Something hanging jowls.
Yeah, no, I call it the snuff line. Because if you're chewing snuff,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's over there and it just dribbles out.
Yep.
Yeah, my grandmother chewed snuff.
so you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. She had her little can.
Huh.
That she carried her spit can with her all the time.
Wow.
Not that I've ever done snuff.
Now, snuff, the only thing that I know of snuff,
And that's
Yes.
not film.
I was going to say, Louise.
there is this stuff that my ex-husband used to get. It was really kind of funny. And it was really, really, really finely ground clove. Ooh. Really, and you sniff it. And
Yeah.
it makes your entire face numb.
Imagine it would.
We have had some fun.
Oh!
TMI. That's a picture I don't want.
So,
Just saying. I mean,
Yes?
I've never chewed snuff.
okay.
And I've
Back
never-
to the tatas.
I've never done clove, but back to my tatas.
It feels great.
just,
They're a repeat performance here every day.
yeah, well, when we have 4 girls and 1 son.
Right.
And so the type of cancer that I had is not genetic, okay? But you know what? If you have a recurrence, it can be an entirely different type of breast cancer.
Absolutely. I would
You know,
think so, yeah.
It's really weird. But one of my daughters came in to me one day. It was cold. And she came in and she was complaining because her nipples were tight. And she said, "Mom, don't your nipples stick out when you get cold?" And I said, "Yeah, baby, but they point at the floor now." You know?
Mine are a little wall-eyed.
Yeah, it's
Like a hammerhead.
Yeah. You know, they did the mastectomy and they took the big one. You know?
What
So
the
I was
hell?
not happy about that. There is life after breast cancer.
There is.
Absolutely.
It just
I
is.
think there's life after any cancer.
Yeah.
If you have the right support system.
Absolutely.
If you have the right mentality. I really think, I do believe, I'm an absolute believer in metaphysics and higher power. And if you hear that you have 6 months to live and you go, oh my God, I have 6 months to live.
Yeah, in 6 months.
In 6 months, you might be dead. However,
or you might not.
However, if you hear you have 6 months to live and you're like, oh, you're full of shit, I'm not done. I am not done.
It has a lot to do with
I
mind.
I don't just have a bucket list, I have a fuck it list. And I've still got all these people I got to do.
Okay. Yeah, no attitude. Your attitude is what it is.
While she's here, don't tell me if I'm not that.
Oh, you both are. Okay. We're having a party later.
Yeah, but you gotta have the attitude. You gotta have support, and you gotta have attitude.
Yes.
I freaked out when I heard I thought, oh my God, am I going to lose my hair? And then my mom bought me this ugly Carol Channing wig. I'm like, what the hell? But she bought it for me, so I couldn't say no.
So you had to wear it.
Because what if I did lose my hair?
Yeah, well, there you go.
So, I know at one of our shows I posted pictures of us in this Carol Channing wig. Actually, the last cancer show was, we had everybody.
Weren't you here for that one?
No, it was Holly Bird and my friend Tony, and Toby was here. But we all took turns wearing the Carol Channing wig.
Yeah, some pictures.
Even Tony. He's an ugly woman.
Well,
some people just can't do it.
That's okay. Let me get my makeup kit. I'll fix that.
A high school friend of mine was diagnosed about the same time I was. And hers was far more serious than I was. They had to do chemo before they could even do the surgery. And she was freaked about losing her hair. So we brought her down from Santa Fe, and I took her to my hairdresser. And we both got our heads
That's pretty awesome.
shorn,
I would do it for my kids.
Well, yeah, it's hair.
I would just do it just to look like a punk rocker.
No, it took me
It's
3 years
hair.
to get my locks this long.
Well, there you go. There you go. Hey, I just cut like 18 inches off mine about a month ago. I said, I'm tired of screwing with it.
Saying that on air does not sound really good.
It doesn't.
Just cut off 18 inches of
18
mine.
inches of my hair went away.
Well,
Now it's short.
Sorry, Mike.
So that 2 inches we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
My condolences. After 18 and 2, what's left?
Damn.
Turtle. That's amazing. What did you do with the hair? Did you just donate them to?
No, because I had a perm, and they only want virgin hair.
Yes.
So I couldn't.
So
But I
you're
brought it
saying
home.
if somebody's done something in my hair, it's no longer virgin?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Not the hair. Not the hair.
You know the old joke about the woman goes in to the department store and she's going to buy a shawl and it's $50. And then she goes next door and she looks and she finds one for $100. And she says to the guy, she says, next door it's only $50. Here it's $100. He says, well, this is 100% virgin wool. She says, for $50, I care what the sheep do at night. But that's like the hair.
Yeah.
So I've got it. I'm probably going to toss it. I can't imagine. Why
I would
would
contact
they save it?
I would donate it to a wig maker because they can.
It's interesting because Locks of Love. I kind of did. No. Let me finish my story.
Charge.
They.
All right, quiet.
Locks of Love. I understand that they're not as good, but there's other organizations that it's 100%. It goes to where it's supposed to go. And I think there's so much out there that we can. I mean, oh my God, I don't care that you have permed hair. Jesus Christ, it's hair.
Yeah.
It's hair.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the ones I contacted said that they wouldn't take it because it was gray. But I could, they didn't want it because it was gray, but I could color it.
Well, you know,
and then they would take it.
I will
What?
I will tell you that maybe you can just donate it to an S&M factory, and they can make
There you go.
a human hair tail.
All right.
You know, they have horsetail whips.
Oh boy, that was really reaching.
Well, and I don't have the content. I don't know.
Why
anybody.
Why not?
No, maybe we do.
It
Surely, in our whole bunch of
absolutely.
people that we know.
What was that you posted this morning? These little girls with hobby horses
Oh
running
yeah,
around.
it was great in Finland.
Yeah, in
They
Finland.
have a hobby
competition.
horse competition,
So
and
cute.
here's these little girls riding hobby horses and prancing. And at first, I thought that's a little strange. Well, actually, I still think that's a little
As long
strange.
as they don't have one of those horsetail plugs.
Not yet.
No.
We're training. We're training.
Okay.
Oh my.
Oh, our the future of our youth in Finland.
Well, in any
I hope nobody's listening in Finland. Right?
well, it was really kind
Well,
of
come
fun.
bottom of your radio
If you're listening in Finland, send pictures. That's all I gotta say.
There you go.
Pretty sure there's a market for it somewhere.
Well, there's got to be.
Not that kind of market.
You know, the most important. You know, the most
Oh, we better
appalling
get a
thing
little
I
older
learned
first.
was that with cancer.
Well, that's not what I was saying.
Oh.
That's why I said not that kind of market.
That 1 in 7 women will have breast cancer. That just blew me away. 1 in 7. That's how.
It's a high statistic.
Yes,
That was-
and
Statistic. I
it's
can't
the
say that word.
same number. It's the same number of women who will be raped.
That's now. That also depends regionally because
Yeah.
I was a victims advocate in northern Rio Arriba County, and
Oh my.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was very very high there.
Oh yeah.
And I want to say I could be off by just a little bit. It was about 80%.
Yeah.
Of
Depending
children
on where you are. Yeah.
Of 80% of where we were, and so, you know,
Scary.
the national overall average, it doesn't sound quite
Yeah,
as
it
bad.
does.
It is. It's horrific. It's absolutely appalling.
But when you start thinking 80%,
But then, you know, being up there and working with so many families,
yeah.
it was it was heartbreaking that it's so prevalent. It's very very prevalent here in Mexico.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I can understand that. So
That's a whole nother show.
absolutely, and I do actually have that one of those shows planned. I'll have Dr. Beatty back, and you can come join us. So she actually wrote a book, and she's publishing it next month. So it's coming out in June. So I was going to have her back in.
That was part of the reason for the movie that we made, is to educate. I mean, that was the title, You Bet Your Life. You can go get checked, or you can bet your life.
Well, you know, that's one of the things I wanted to say. It's like with your movie, the thing is, again, I think that it was it was an eye-opening movie, and I mean, if you have a chance, where do you have it? I mean, do you have it on YouTube or anything like that?
I think it's on YouTube and maybe Vimeo. We have some CD copies of it, but you know.
I mean, I'd love to post.
Well, see, that's why I sent the message. Was this video or was it strictly audio? Because I was going to dig up a copy of the movie and we could play it on.
Well, we
the
can
show.
still post it. We can post it on
I'll
Women,
send-
Wit, and Wine, and
Or I'll get you a link to it then.
because I think it's a fantastic message. I mean, because it has an amazing takeaway. That, I mean, what you guys were saying, and I do think that happens a lot. I'm one of these people. I would be the first to admit it. My stepfather had sneezed, and his appendix burst, and he had gangrene set in. But here's the thing. I wanted to remember that man in the man I saw every day, not the man that was laying in the bed.
Yeah, right.
I don't know that as a partner, I would be that capable of being that strong. I don't know, because I haven't had that situation. I can go from the reference of being a teenager and not wanting to. I wouldn't go see him at the hospital because I couldn't. I didn't want to cope with that. I didn't want to cope with that person, seeing that person in that weakened state. and I mean, and because this was my dad kind of thing. So I think I'm in awe of the fact that you went through his, he's gone through yours, and amazingly, 10 years later, here we are, and we're sharing this message. But one of the things I want to say is what I mean. We've got like 9 minutes, and so I want to say, give me some takeaways that you could give people in regards to what you look for. What I mean, I don't want to say what you look for because I do think that some of it's kind of a silent killer sometimes. But
yeah,
I mean, for you, it was a prophetic dream.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I had a brilliant doctor who caught that the PSA doubled.
Yeah.
It was only 0.4
Yeah.
or 4 point, which was extremely low. But it doubled in 6 months, and she said, you just probably want to do a biopsy anyway. Boy,
I had a doctor
that wasn't.
My
fun.
doctor did that.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to a psychiatrist, and I was talking about my weight, and he goes, "Well, let me send you to my endocrinologist because he's fantastic."
Mm-hmm.
This man walked up to this little man who had broken his neck and walked like this with his neck down in a crook. Walked up to me, touched my neck, and says, "You have a lump right here, and I'm sending you for a biopsy."
Mm-hmm.
And it was a matter of a touch. It wasn't, "Hey, let's figure out what's wrong with you." I mean, because I had come back from California, and I'd been going to my doctor, and I knew my thyroid was out of whack, but I didn't know I had cancer.
Yeah.
And I would have never known had I had cancer, had I not had somebody refer me to an endocrinologist.
Well, see, that is sort of the back end of the point that I'm making here, is that we both had an early warning, if you will. She had the dream, I had the doctor who noticed an abnormal spurt in the signs, and we both went and got it checked out. We're both in the habit of getting medical stuff done up front.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, on the idea that it's preventative, if you can call it that. So the takeaway would be, it's never too early, number one, and just go get your checkups every year. Now, we can lean into politics and say all kinds of things about who's going to pay for it, but at the same time, there are free clinics, there always have been at some point, get those tests done before. Guys, women, doesn't make any difference. Get the tests done, find out early. If you get it found out early, the survival rate is considerably higher than, I mean, mine was still encapsulated in the prostate, and if it escaped, who knows what.
Yeah.
And so I consider myself very, very lucky from that standpoint. Now, there are some downsides. Okay, there are some downsides. But the lesson from that is, and we've learned this lesson for lots of reasons, because I'm diabetic, and she's got MS, and we got all kinds of other horrible crap going on in our medical lives.
Gee, it's fun.
And so...
Isn't it?
Yeah. The point is, though, you get up every day and you say, okay, what's the new normal? Or what's today's normal?
Yes.
Yes.
And you just move on. You make adjustments and adaptations, and you just keep living your life.
Right.
Now, you can go wallow in it, and you can shrink in on yourself and go into massive depression.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It is okay to feel whatever you're feeling. But don't stay there.
You need to allow yourself to grieve.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah. And that's really a grief
not
thing.
get stuck there.
You don't have to die.
Right.
Just grieve.
Yes.
Well,
cancer is no longer, the C word is no longer a death sentence.
No.
Yeah. There are so many new breakthroughs in every single day. And because we are in a medical marijuana state, and I've been doing so much research, I love marijuana. And I want to smoke it every day the rest of my life. As long as I need it. But there are so many really awesome breakthroughs that they're seeing how cannabis can be used in treatments of MS and diabetes. I've got awesome stories about how it's been used medically with friends of mine that are seeing amazing results. I started using it for pain management, for nerve pain management, and PTSD, and it's fantastic for me. And I didn't. It's funny because I didn't smoke pot in my teens and 20s and 30s. I waited until I was 45, and I find
Whatever works. Whatever works.
I still don't. And I've had people go, oh, maybe you should. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm already medicated. I already take, I take antidepressants. I take Prozac, and I take it on a regular basis. And maybe I would be different. I can say, I will tell you that for a while there, last year I had stopped taking it. I felt really good. And then when I took this new position at work, the stress changed. And I started, because I wasn't being treated equally, or I didn't feel like I was being treated equally, my depression started escalating, and I started taking that medication again. And I pointed that out. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm back on my antidepressants, and you guys should know this. There's a reason. There's a reason why I'm back on it.
Yeah.
And so, I do see a difference in that. I was at a good level in my life where I didn't feel like I needed it. And I don't do extracurricular, hobbies in that regard.
Stuff.
In the not quite legal sect.
It's medicinal, and it is absolutely legal medicinally in the state of New
Absolutely, it is now medicinally if you have your card. But for me, it's like just.
Yeah.
People go, well, maybe you should do this. And I'm like, but I'm already weird enough as I am. I don't need any help.
I think the big thing with any of us.
Yes.
Take responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take responsibility for yourself.
Yeah.
Get yourself checked out. Do your breast exam. Do your mammos. Talk to your doctor. If there's a change, wave your hand and let somebody know.
If you're in pain, if you notice that you got a bump on your shoulder, on your butt, and you feel like it's getting bigger, then have it checked out.
There are organizations.
Absolutely.
American Cancer Society, the Breast Cancer Society Association, I think it is. But there are all kinds of organizations for, name your topic, name your cancer. And there are people who can give you information.
Yes.
And
Susan G. Komen.
Don't, and really what it comes down to is don't ignore it. Don't ignore it.
Be responsible.
Our body sends us signals, and you have to learn to be in tune with them. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be in tune. Right. You're not going to get those signals. And being diabetic, my daughter's diabetic. She's a type 1. And we found that out. There was signs in 2011, but it really kind of came through year before last. And she now is responsible, and she understands, and she's a different person. And she was ignoring those signs, and even though I kept telling her as a mom, going, but you got to be responsible for yourself. I can't do it for you. I can bug you. I can nag you. Your partner can bug you and nag you. You hurt your back. And you consistently keep hurting your back. You got to stop ignoring it, and it's time to take care of yourself.
Well, there's a piece of that I think is important. It goes back to what Patricia was saying earlier, is knowledge is power. Don't be afraid of what's going on to the point where you don't get the information. The fear of the unknown is greater than the fear of what it actually is. Because once you know what it is, then you can begin to deal with it.
Right.
But as long as you have this unknown something hanging over your head, then all it does is create the fear and recreate the fear, and it gets worse and worse.
And I think along those lines, Mike, is a lot of people have turned to the internet for research. It's an awesome place to get information, but you can also scare the crap out of yourself if you overdo it.
You can't self-diagnose.
And
NIH website. NIH.
National Health Institute.
You get really bad information on the internet.
Oh my gosh!
I had a scare with my back not long ago, and my daughter up in Denver said, "Mom, get the hell off the internet,
Yes.
or I'm going to come down there and I'm going to tear out your wires."
Well, I mean, there's truth
Yes.
to that.
Yes.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing: my car has a problem and it's making a noise. I'm okay looking for that on the internet.
Mhm.
My knee has a pinch every time I bend it. I can look on the internet
And you're going to die tomorrow.
and I can find several different reasons as to why.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're going
But
to
you
pick the worst one.
But you
Yes.
have to be willing to understand all the reasons of the possibilities of what could be going on with you. You have to know, okay, this pinch is right here on the side of my leg. So now, what kind of doctor should I go to? That would be my question. Should I go to an orthopedic doctor, or should I go to an endocrinologist to find out why the heck every time I bend my knee, it pinches so painfully that I feel like my tendon is ripping.
Yeah.
But I have to know that. And so, I'm one of those people. I'll do the research of saying, okay, this is where the pain is right here. Who should I go see?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go see my primary, who's going to now tell me I need to go see this guy, and then who's going to tell me to see this guy and this guy, and waste my time.
And by the time you get to all of those people, it's going to be 8 months because you're going to have to wait.
Absolutely.
And wait.
So yes, so again,
Yeah.
so at least if I have a noise in my car, I can type in the symptoms, what kind of car it is, and I can figure it out. And I can learn how to fix it. However, I'm not a doctor.
That's right.
That's why I have no patience. But
Here all week, folks.
Oh my
I'm here every day.
goodness.
so but on that note, absolutely, don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore what your
Yeah.
body is
Responsible.
telling you. You got a pain. You don't have to over exaggerate it. You wait a little while. If that pain still consists, you need to do something because it could be something terrible. Terry's brother has pancreatic cancer, and that is a cancer
That's
that
a
pretty
bad
much
one.
is a death sentence for most people.
Can be.
Not
Yeah.
100%.
Not 100%, but most people.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a lot of actors that have recently died from pancreatic cancer. Did you ignore the symptoms?
Maybe I'd better stop being an
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Richard Hatch, Alan Rickman,
actor.
John Hurt. Didn't he just die? Didn't he just die?
Yeah, but he was a little older than we are.
Well, they are.
Really,
They are older than we are. But all three of these people in this last year have become very prominent with pancreatic cancer.
I don't know.
Oh, what's his name? Gorgeous dancer.
Patrick Swayze.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
It's become very prominent.
But there are some things that are being done.
If you listen to your body,
Yeah.
you can probably.
There are. I met. I went to Cancer Institute of America, whoever, with a friend.
Yeah.
Whose husband couldn't go. He was ill, and she went, and so I went to support her, and met several people who have pancreatic cancer that, they're like 6-7 years out, and that's pretty unusual. So there's stuff.
Yeah.
There's hope.
Yeah.
I think there's always hope. We're going to have hope. Macrobiotic diets is something that has been taught to reverse prostate cancer, believe it or not.
Really?
Well, and some targeted kinds of treatment too. One of the things they're doing for women now, instead of doing radiation for the breast cancer, they're actually putting an encapsulated
Wow.
Pill
C
that breaks
or
up.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's proving to be effective.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's common yet. But it's proving to be more helpful because radiation itself is hellacious.
It's aggressive.
Yeah, it
we
is.
we deal with it every day.
Awful.
Our cell phones are radiation. And
Yeah.
Our microwaves and
That's why I don't have breast cancer. I used to carry my my phone in my bra all the time. It radiated anything.
No, but they actually say that you shouldn't carry it in your bra because it can cause cancer.
Except I've done research, and there's research that shows that yes, it does, and there's research that says it doesn't. And so the older phones, they said absolutely. The newer phones, they're saying it's not so much.
Hell, breathing air causes cancer, but whatever.
Eating this fruit that could be genetically modified.
Yeah.
Okay,
it could.
I'm going to wrap this up on this note.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to hell in a handbasket. I am going to enjoy my trip all the way. And
where did you find a handbasket?
Dorothy carries it all the time. What are you talking about? Why am I in this handbasket? Where are we going? Live your life with no regrets.
Absolutely.
You know, and every day like it's your last, because you never know. You never know how long we're going to be here. I'm very blessed that I've had both of you in my life for a very long time. Let's think. Clown Camp was in 2006.
Was it really?
We love you too.
2006.
2006.
Wow.
September of 2006, sir.
I know. Who knew?
Boy, don't time fly when you're having fun.
And they're not.
And when you're not, I've been very blessed to have you guys in my life for 11 years, and I've done a lot of projects with Mike and you as well, and you're an amazing artist, and
thanks.
Mike is a talented actor and producer and director
Photographer.
and photographer.
Yeah,
Actually,
good photographer.
I'm going to point this out to you. You do notice that all my headshots
I know what they
are all you.
I know. Well, no, they're all you.
I know they're all me, but they're all you
Pictures
Yeah, I know.
that you've taken. So obviously it means that it's been long enough and I probably should do some more headshots.
Something.
Well, there you go.
I know. I'll never forget the day that I walked into your studio, and I'm walking through, and there's Nicolina in a chair, naked.
As a jaybird.
Mhm.
I'm okay with that.
Yes.
On a bearskin.
I think it was because there was a lot of booby pictures. I think it might have been the time that either just after or during the time.
No, we
that
did.
you were dealing
We
with
did
your
the series. We did your series of women of a certain age.
Yes, yes,
Right.
that's what it was.
Which I'm gonna
We
actually.
didn't hang that one.
I don't think that
It wasn't. Oh no! It was in a book.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was in a book.
I was going to say, how did it get
Yeah.
on the wall?
I'm sure
It was deliberately in a book, so they were.
the one on the wall is me on the blue
And I said,
clock.
crop
That was the one.
Yeah.
because it looks like an elephant's trunk.
What?
So, but
What?
The one you did of me, not for women of a certain age, and did topless, and I said, no, you got to crop that because it looks like an elephant's trunk. We're not doing that.
Well, you want to see? You want to see that one?
well, I will say this. Next week, I have an amazing guest, Quinn Alexander Fontaine. We're going to talk about his book and his transition of being transgender and comedy and life. It's called Hung Like a Seahorse. I'm pretty excited, because I really do kind of think of, I try to think of some witty topics, and believe it or not, I knew you guys didn't drink. I would have bought a wine that would have referenced breast or breast cancer. So, because that is typically... Oh, I would have found something.
Oh, there would have been some sort of a rosé.
No, and it's very funny because I've found some amazing wines. There's a place in Oregon called the Naked Winery, and they have some great wines. One's called Foreplay, Bareback. Complicated. So a gay. There's actually a gay rosé. But I just think it's very interesting. So I have found some amazing wines called like The Pessimist. I did that for a political show.
Okay.
The last show I did, it was called Thank You, because it was called The Curveball. Like how when we think things are going smoothly in life, it throws you a curveball. And basically it reminds me of the Animal House movie, where they're bent over on hazy night, and it was, thank you, sir, may I have another Because when
There you
you're
go.
throwing a curveball, that's exactly what you're asking for. You're asking for another spanking, and so the wine was cold. Thank you. So, but again, I hope you guys will join us next week, and I want to say thank you so much, Mike and
Good, thank you.
Tish. Do you have any projects coming up, sir?
No, not really. I don't. I have a couple that are in planning, but I don't have anything that's specifically on the boards at the moment to launch.
I'm going to be doing a Christmas in July
Awesome.
with some other artists.
Wow.
So, in a private home by invitation. If you want one, let me know.
I would love one.
Okay.
I'd love one. Do I have to wear clothes? I'm just kidding.
No.
I don't care.
So,
At my
I'm
kids'
still
house,
doing my
she's not
women
gonna
of a certain
care
age series. So.
everybody's seen me naked. They just don't know it yet.
When we were working on that short,
Yeah, that one.
Breaking Bad?
with Haskell at Haskell's studio,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and you were like, took off your shirt and slid down the wall because you
Oh,
were
that's
smearing
right.
the blood.
That's right. Because, like, oh, you got to look like you fell up against the wall. So I said, okay. So, because they wanted to look like the guy slid down the wall. And so I said, okay, that's not a problem. So I threw the blood on the wall and I took my shirt off and I dragged myself down the wall.
There you go.
Yes.
Whatever you gotta do.
All in the name of art.
Yes.
Yes.
Making movies.
Even if art wasn't there. So I'm going to close out. And thank you again, guys. And this is Nicolina Nix.
Thanks.
And we're going to have another show. And Mike is going to come back and
Cool.
we'll talk about your experience.
Yeah,
And,
several things.
I mean, I'd even love to do a show on your on women of a certain age because
Be happy to.
I think it was a great project and I will work on a camera. Well, you got a camera. We can do a camera.
I don't know what to say. I've got several cameras.
Yeah.
I just don't have the space at the moment.
You know, so absolutely. Let's do it. And,
Let's do it.
you know, and thanks for listening, guys. And I hope you have a great evening. And we'll see you next week. Good night.
Cool.